get into the same situations that I was in.
Right. Okay. And what does like client acquisition look like? Is it also just majority referral, like I see with most businesses, or how do you find clients for such a specific niche?
Some of it is referrals, either from attorneys, bankers, real estate agents. You know, you go to sell your house and the IRS has a lien on it because you owe them money. You can't sell your house until it gets cleared up, so we help there. We do some radio commercials, which have struck a nerve with a lot of people. Uh, we use Google AdWords, and then we also send letters to other tax return preparers who may not want to do this type of work. It can be very time consuming. The clients are not always cooperative, if you will, which
Hmm.
is one of the reasons they got in this mess in the first place. Is they just put things off. But the letters to other return preparers has also worked very well.
Okay, awesome. And do you have a rough split between those different channels?
I would say, well, it's hard. It's hard to track the Google versus radio because a lot of people will hear my commercial on the radio,
Mhm.
but they're driving or whatever, and so they go to Google to look me up. So when we ask them where they found us, well, I Googled you.
Right. Okay. And then I guess how about if you compare like referrals, tax people, and then Google combined with radio? Do you have a rough split for that?
Referrals are picking up, especially the return letters. You know, we had sent out, gosh, a total of about 9,000 letters to return preparers. We sent three groups of 1,000 each, three letters last year.
Hmm.
Basically got nothing, but now they're starting to come in. I've already
Yeah.
gotten in the past month. I've gotten three referrals from one preparer, so
Okay.
that's starting to pick up. I'd say the majority of our people are still probably coming in from Google.
Okay. So about what percentage would you say is from Google?
50%
Okay.
from
That's
Google,
pretty big. Yeah.
25% radio, and 25% referral.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's interesting. Usually it's more most accounting businesses are very reliant on referrals. So I'm curious what made you decide to get into especially radio. I haven't spoken to anyone that does radio ads and then also into Google ads.
Yeah, radio ads. There's a certain type of prospect that makes a good client. They're usually self-employed. They own their own business. They're divorced. They're between 35 and 50. A lot of them are truck drivers. What do truck drivers do while they're driving? They listen to the radio.
Mm. Yeah. Nice. So you just like dialed in into your ideal target customer and then looked at where do they hang out. So let's target them with the ads there.
Right, right.
Okay. And then how about like the Google ads? What made you want to get into like Google ads?
Well, I have another full service CPA firm that works with businesses on regular accounting and bookkeeping and things like that. And Google has been a good place for getting those types of clients. So we extended it to tax resolution. The interesting issue with Google is you can't use the word resolution or tax debt because in the past, all these collection agencies gave those words a bad name.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I know for some words they are very fussy, or sometimes with like symbols and like if like the dollar symbol as well. So there is a few things that yeah you need to be careful of. And then so I'm curious, so if you have most of your clients coming from these ads, which is more of a cold type of lead generally, what does your sales process look like to close these deals? Because typically they're a little bit more tricky than a referral.
Yeah, basically they're calling us because they're feeling the pain right now. They just got a certified letter from the IRS saying that they're going to file a lien on your house, or they're going to levy your bank account or your paycheck. So they're in a hurry to get something done. Um, we go through a set of questions. You know, how many years is this? How much do you owe? Are there any unfiled returns? Because one
Mm-hmm.
of the issues with getting into any kind of payment agreement with the IRS is that you have to have all your returns filed. We do what we call a transcript investigation. I kind of compare it to going to a doctor's office. You know, the doctor just doesn't say, "Here, here's your prescription. This will cure you." We need to know what's going on. Is it $100,000 that you owe? Um have you not filed 10 years worth of returns because the IRS is only asking for six? So you don't want to file more returns than you have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And then so it sounds like you're doing quite well in terms of that area. What areas are not going as well as what you would like, or areas that you guys are currently trying to improve, like business wise?
Well, we're working on getting more flow through our pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
We've started reaching out geographically to other states and to other parts of our state. We were basically marketing to about a 50-mile radius, and to the east of us is Lake Michigan, so that knocks out a third or a half of our market, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on getting more leads of the type of client that we're looking for.
Okay, cool. And anything else?
That's the biggest one. We've gotten some cases recently where we're looking at people that owe $300,000, $400,000. Excuse me. So that's going to be uh, interesting to work with. Number one, because of the numbers. Number two, there's some complications within that. Uh, some of the years the taxpayer was single, then he got married, but still filed as a single person, so we may have to amend returns. They're young, which is not in their favor for negotiating settlements because the IRS says we'll just wait and collect. We have time.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And what would you say has been one of the challenges to get to the level of lead flow that you would like?
Um, it's getting the prospect to decide. You know, we have clients that I can almost guarantee, like clockwork, they'll come in every 3 or 4 years because they haven't filed their returns. There are more than a handful of clients that missed out on, you know, thousands of dollars in refunds because they didn't file their returns on time. The IRS will only give refunds going back 3 years. So if you haven't filed
Mm-hmm.
your 2020 tax return now, you don't get a refund.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so when you say the challenge to get the prospect to decide? Is that in terms of like closing the deal type of thing? Like they just say, okay, I need to think about it more.
Sometimes it's they have to think about it. Sometimes they go, yeah, but I can't come up with your fee until
Okay.
next Tuesday, and then next Tuesday comes around and they don't show, and I mean you follow up for a while, but we have a saying internally here: we can't care more than you do.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a yeah, very very true, and I've experienced it myself. Because yeah, I was curious as well. Do you find a lot of these like prospects that you get are the type of person that like would be a good fit to work with? Because if they're coming to you because they have money problems, is money also then going to be an issue to for them to want to work with you? So I was curious in terms of that.
Sometimes it is. Most of the time, they want to get the IRS off their back. So I have one client. His mother is paying
Okay.
our fee. Actually, I have a handful of clients where somebody else is paying the fee for them to get their problem solved. What you're hoping once you get this solved is they've learned their lesson, and now you can work with them to you know be profitable, if you will, file their returns on time, and be able to sleep at night not worrying about their bank account being levied or their house being seized.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I think that that would be a bit of a relief to be able to know that. And then, so tell me, what other projects are you guys working on, or what other like goals do you have like in the next couple of months?
Well, uh, tax season is coming up, starting in January. So we will be uh, bringing on new clients to file 2025 tax returns. Um, we'll be recording new radio commercials for next year, so that in there we'll kind of put the knife in and ask them if they've filed their 2024 tax return or before,
Hmm.
because a lot of people haven't, and then they just go, well, I didn't file my 24, so I can't file my 25, and then they can't file their 26. So we're trying to um,
Yeah,
get them to get their head out of the sand and
yeah.
act rather than delay.
Okay. And how about like any goals that you guys as a business have for the next couple of months?
Yeah, we'd like to over the next year probably increase our revenue at least 50%, preferably double it. I think we're starting out now. I mean, we're starting 426 already. I got 3 new cases in the last week that are good cases. So we'll start 2026 going, running, hit the ground running, and try and keep up the momentum with the increase in the geographical area that we're going for. I think that will improve the pipeline. And, and now with the new changes in the tax law, more people will probably be using a professional to prepare their tax returns. So that's going to
Hmm.
help. So I'm very optimistic about what 2026 is going to look like.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yeah, that's great to hear. And then I know we're starting to run out of time, so how about let's finish on where do you see the industry going, slash how do you see it changing, especially with the developments of AI and all of that?
Yeah. Well, as far as tax resolution goes, um, AI can help in some respects. We're using it more and more to prepare returns, but it's not 100% accurate yet. So there's that. But I don't think it's ever going to replace the human interaction. Uh, me asking the questions, um, getting that chemistry between me and the taxpayer. Uh, AI is not going to be talking to the Internal Revenue Service revenue officer, um, although the Internal Revenue Service is going to more AI, which makes our job a little bit easier. So I think
Hmm.
we're still going to be um, still be viable. Um, the United States needs to collect money to pay for all these programs that they're running. So
Hmm.
and people are always going to try and um, get away with what they can as far as not paying taxes.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. And I find AI I view as it's like an intern, essentially. Like it can do the admin tasks, but when it comes to like the critical thinking, the big picture, um, it's not as good with that. And sometimes you need to ask like the way you ask the questions impacts that, or like the critical thinking is not always as good with that, or
Right,
at least not yet.
right.
Or even knowing what prompts to use in the AI makes a massive difference. Like you could try to get the same answer, but one person types a different prompt, and you can get something completely different. So
Hmm.
again, yeah, it's really interesting.
Very true.
Well, it's been great having you on the show. Where can people go to
Thanks for
find a little bit
inviting.
more about you and what you guys do?
Yeah, they can give us a call. It's area code 414-325-2040, or they can visit our website, which is rightchoicetax.us.
Alrighty, cool. I'll include those links in the show notes below. I appreciate you coming on. You guys have been listening to the Business Growth Podcast. Until next time, keep growing. Alrighty, cool. That was really interesting, the radio ads. I haven't met anyone doing radio ads.
I've been doing them for at least 10 years on, on, on conservative talk radio and a sports station. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. And do you about how much is like a monthly budget for like the radio ads and maybe like Google ads?
I think our radio runs about $2,800 for. I'm trying to think. On one station, I think we have eight 60-second spots a week. The sports station, we have five 60-second spots a week. Google ads, small, we're paying about, I think the last bill I got was $500. And again,
Okay.
it seems to be working. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, cool. Well, appreciate you coming on. I'll let this buffer. I'll probably be posting the episode in the new year. I'm just gonna be spacing it out a little bit just because people aren't really active on LinkedIn anymore. They're not really looking to type of stuff. Everyone's on holiday, so I want to make sure the episode gets the most amount of traction. Yeah, I'll probably post it around in the new year.
okay.
I'd say maybe a little bit earlier. Yeah, but around kind of that, just so you have a rough idea. And then I also know you mentioned on the podcast that you're looking to grow a little bit more, do a little bit more marketing, do a little bit more in terms of the sales. And it's actually something I've been helping a few accounting firms with. Yeah, if it'd be something you'd be interested in, I'd love to see could I potentially help you guys as well to keep growing